one of the reasons why I don't believe the official story behind Charlie Kirk assassination is that I noticed that there are no front-facing photos of his so-called kids. So I found an article here in this online People magazine where I'm just going to show you that. Let me just go through the photos and just show you very quickly. If you look at the kids in this photo of Charlie and Erica Kirk, they don't show their faces. And even in this next one here, the kids are looking away from the camera. And this one as well. And I think there's maybe two more. They never ever show their faces. These kids are always looking away from the camera. Something else as well that's being said, and I can't prove this, but I said in one of my more recent videos that a lot of conspiracy, what I called conspiracy theories, always turn out to be true. So, for instance, we have even the Obamas, who they say that these two girls are the kids of the Obamas, but it's also been said, this has been rumored that these kids were just hired from friends of the Obamas to act like they are Michael Obama, Barack Obama has actually called him. These two kids have been hired out, according to some sources, to act like they are children when they are the children of friends of the Obamas. But yeah, it's just a side note. So here, let me just read some of this article here. In fact, I noticed that there was something, I don't know if it's a mistake or what, maybe because the fact that this is all an act, there's actually a mistake in this article. So we have the headline says Charlie and Erica Kirk's two kids, all about their son and daughter. You see that? So we have son and daughter here. But when we go down here, we see it says Charlie Kirk at the Cambridge Union on March 19, 2025. They're talking about this picture on the left here. Charlie Kirk at the Cambridge Union on March 19, 2025 in Cambridge, UK. Charlie and Erica Kirk with their two daughters. You see that? Charlie and Erica Kirk with their two daughters. They're referring to this photo here. But yet here they said all about their son and daughter. So even the media can't keep their story straight because there's just something wrong with this story about Charlie Kirk. Personally, I doubt very much, that these two kids are actually Charlie and Erica Kirk's children. And also bear in mind that Erica Kirk is actually an actress herself. She's been featured in many videos, some music videos from a few years ago, and I think she was in a few films as well. And also, Erica Kirk is Jesuit trained. You can go and look that up yourself in the same way that Donald Trump is Jesuit trained, because it's actually the Jesuits are the ones that rule the world. Okay, they are heavily focused on education. So I'll just read some of this. It says here, Charlie Kirk and his wife, Erica Kirk, shared two children. By the way, there are some sources who say that Erica Kirk was Charlie Kirk's handler. Okay. But it goes on to say the right-wing organizer, referring to Charlie Kirk, who was fatally shot on September 10, and the former Miss Arizona USA married in May 2021. So if you look at the alleged assassination of Charlie Kirk and the ongoing court case, and even during the investigation of the so-called assassination, there were so many stories that came out. That there was some who said that there was a UFO that day that was flying around at UVU, which is a University of Utah. That potentially that UFO or those UFOs were actually had some kind of part to play in the assassination. And then there's some say that he was shot in the neck, and then there are some who say that the mic that he had on his clothes had explosives in it, and that's what killed Charlie. Personally, I don't believe that Charlie Kirk was actually assassinated. I think the whole thing was it was a hoax, in the same way that we've had so many hoaxes. Okay, but let's just carry on with this. It says the couple had a daughter in August 2022 and a son in May 2024. So you see here, they're saying they had a daughter and a son, but yet here it says Charlie and Erica Kirk with their two daughters. And then it says here, Charlie co-founded Turning Point USA, an organization that advances for conservative politics among high school and college students. He died on September 10, they're talking about 2025, after he was shot during one of his signature Prove Me Wrong sessions at Utah Valley University. I think I got the name wrong earlier, but yeah. It sometimes refers to as UVU. Or UVU. A week after Charlie's death, Erica was voted in as the next CEO of TP USA and has since spoken at several events to continue her late husband's message. And she's going around the United States doing speeches at these events. So who are the kids with? You know, or someone could argue, well, they're with the grandparents, but yeah, shouldn't a mother be with with her own kids? It says here in December 2025, Erica made headlines when she said that career-driven women look to the government as a form of replacement for certain things, relationship-wise. These are not important issues. There's something else I wanted to read here. Yeah, here. Erica said she has spoken to her daughter about Charlie's death, and she continues to keep her kids' names and photos of their faces private. Why? Well, someone could say, well, because for the sake that they don't want their kids' names or faces to be in public, because they want to safeguard their children's welfare or something. They want to keep their children's affairs private. There are many people in the limelight, whether through politics or with celebrities whose kids are actually known. What's so special about Charlie and Erica Kirk's children? I think these are not their children. That's what I think anyway. I've already showed you some of these photos, okay? Yeah, this definitely looks like a boy in terms of how he's dressed, and even this is a girl, obviously. But it's interesting that in the article they can't even get the gender of the kids right. And something else as well about this alleged assassination of Charlie Kirk is that there was no funeral. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section. I never saw a funeral of Charlie Kirk. I just saw what was alleged to be Charlie Kirk in a coffin with Erica Kirk touching the hands of this corpse in a coffin. And of course, we had the event where they had fireworks going off, where Donald Trump attended. I think they said it was Charlie Kirk's memorial. There are many things. Of course, there's a whole thing about Tyler Robinson not being the assassin in the alleged assassination of Charlie Kirk. There are many things which just don't add up. It's similar to the JFK assassination, where there were many like red herrings, things to distract you from the truth. It all doesn't make sense. So just moving on to George Floyd. I won't say too much about George Floyd, but I also suspect that George Floyd also, the whole thing about George Floyd was a hoax. Okay, if we just go here, just want to show you something. Well, first of all, George Floyd was an actor. Most people don't actually know that about George Floyd, that he was actually a porn star, to be more specific. So he was an actor, and I'll show you that a lot of people in politics, excuse me, or those who are pushed into the limelight are actually actors. So here we have Ronald Reagan. He was an actor before becoming president. Arnold Schwarzenegger is very well known. He was an actor. Okay, he was in Terminator and Predator, and I think Eraser. There was a film called Eraser that he starred in. He's been in many films. Okay, Donald Trump, very well known to have been an actor, and perhaps is continuing to play the role of an actor as president. Okay, and we have Justin Trudeau, who was a drama teacher, and then we have Zelensky, who was an actor before becoming president. And it's interesting that in Ukraine they've not had elections since Zelensky became president. And of course, the excuse is that Ukraine is currently at war with Russia, so they can't have elections. But I think it's the reason for not having elections is to make sure that he stays in quotes in power, because obviously he's just a puppet, a drug addicted puppet. And I'm trying to remember the name of the film that made Zelensky famous. I think it was called. Servant of the People. I think that was the name of the film on Ukrainian TV that starred Zelensky, who in the film he acted like he was running for the presidency in Ukraine, and that's actually what ended up happening in real life. He ran for the presidency and he won. And I don't know if the elections were free and fair, but I suppose Ukrainians were actually influenced by the film, and then it actually ended up happening in real life. And then we have him being given an Oscar by Sean Penn, I think it is, who was once married to Madonna. And of course, those in Hollywood know that Zelensky is just an actor. Okay, so I think in giving Zelensky this Oscar, is Sean Penn was kind of saying that Zelensky is a very good actor. It's interesting that Sean Penn said that he was giving Zelensky this Oscar for safekeeping, yet Ukraine is at war. It all doesn't make sense. And of course, these three here who claim to have gone to the moon these are just actors. Okay, of course, NASA is a government agency, and I wouldn't believe anything they say. These men didn't go to the moon. Okay, this is just acting. This is Neil Tyson. I can't remember his full name. Neil deGrasse Tyson or something. Who some have said that he likes to wear this waistcoat, which actually, has sun worship or the symbols of the sun on it, and some have intimated that he may be a Jesuit. Of course, this is the sun symbols on his waistcoat are similar to those on the Jesuit logo. If you go and look at the Jesuit logo, you see exactly what I mean. So, and then obviously the last person we have here is George Floyd, who, like I already said, was an actor. So, the last thing I want to share about George Floyd is that so they said that Derek Chauvin was the police officer that knelt on George Floyd's neck, which resulted in him being suffocated. But also, of course, they were when an alleged autopsy was done, they said that he overdosed on fentanyl. Regardless of what they say the cause of the death was, George Floyd and Derek Chauvin actually knew each other. They were kind of like friends. They actually worked together. They actually worked at a nightclub doing security at a nightclub. They knew each other, so it's a very interesting connection here. So, and of course the alleged death of George Floyd, which, like I say, I suspect that he may not have died at all. This is fake news that we're fed by the media. We've been fed a lot of lies over the decades and centuries by the media. So I don't see any reason to believe anything that the media says. But the alleged death of George Floyd actually resulted in a lot of riots, which caused a lot of damage and destruction of property during what was referred to as the BLM riots. And of course, this happened during this pandemic. Those who supported or who were members of BLM were allowed to go out and protest and riot and cause damage. But if anyone wanted to protest the government mandates, which were to do with this pandemic, they were told that it was unsafe to do so. So you can see that there was clearly an agenda there. Okay, so maybe the last thing I'll share is In the book of Matthew, Jesus warned he warned 4 times that we should watch out for deception. And the first time he warned about deception was in Matthew 24 verse 4, and then next time was in verse 5, and then in verse 11 he said, "And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many." And then in verse 24 of the same chapter he said, "For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, in so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." So even those who are awake can potentially be deceived if they don't pay attention. Okay, I think that one of the very good verses that talks about deception is Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, which says, "And the great dragon," we know that the great dragon in scripture is referring to Satan. In fact, it actually says it right here. "The great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world." Yeah, the whole world is deceived by Satan. One of the ways to tell if something is a deception or not is when there's said to be an incident that kind of, in the incident, there are things that happen that kind of target your emotions, and you are expected to react emotionally, whether it's a pandemic or an assassination, even with the so-called climate change. It's like you're supposed to react emotionally, because even during this pandemic, they said that those who were refusing to take the vaccine, they were a danger to others. They were going to kill grandma and grandpa, and there were even some that went as far as saying that those who refused to take the jab should be lined up before firing squads and shot. That's how far they were willing to take it. But we read here that the whole world is deceived by Satan. Okay, so yeah, any major event especially a major event that requires a worldwide remedy is I think any event like that is a deception. But especially one of the ways to tell, like I said earlier, if you're being deceived or being lied to, is when you are expected to react emotionally, which is what most of the world does when such incidents happen. But that's what I wanted to say, and that's why I don't really mention Charlie Kirk that much in my videos, because as far as I'm concerned, the whole thing is a deception. So some of you might be thinking, well, where's Charlie Kirk right now? I don't know, and I don't really care, to be honest. He probably went and had plastic surgery. I mean, there were Kash Patel, who is the director of the FBI, actually said that he made a very funny statement after the alleged assassination of Charlie Kirk, and said, see you in Valhalla. And apparently there's actually an island called Valhalla, and there are some who say that that's maybe where Charlie Kirk is actually staying right now. And obviously he also sold his house a few months before the so-called assassination. So yeah, I don't believe anything, especially anything that comes out of mainstream media about Charlie Kirk or George Floyd or any of these major events. But that's what I wanted to share about some of these things. Once again, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Charlie Kirk holds his head up. This is remarkable. This is supposed to be a dead man. Look how they carry him out. There's no blood trail. And they take him to an SUV, not an ambulance. Now watch. Look at his head. He's holding his head up. See it? Remarkable. No blood anywhere. A 30-06 would have blown your head off, and there would have been a gallon of blood on the floor. There is no blood trail. Here it comes again. Again, white shoes, a white shirt, and there's no blood. He's got his arm, got some fake blood on his arm. Here's a close-up. Now watch his head. He's holding his head up. Dead men can't do that. It had been flopped over. Right there is proof that this is a setup, a psyop, a psychological operation. Here it comes again, here's a close-up. Again, watch his head. He's holding his head up. Now, it should be flopped over because he's dead, right? Here it comes. Now, watch this. There. There's no way a dead man can hold his head up like that. Right? Right there, it's busted. Nobody's holding his head up. He's holding his head up with his own power. White shoe. That kills me. White shoes. That floor should have been covered with blood. There should be blood all over these people. Here, watch this lady record, and it's not Charlie. This is proof again of a setup. Watch. She's not looking at Charlie. She's recording the crisis actor. See that lady walk by her, run by her? She's recording that. It's like the Sagruda film. It's all stage acting. It's a movie. They're setting up to play. She's not looking at Charlie. Charlie is the main attraction. Look, she walks away. They're still putting him in the car. She walks away. Right there's proof that this was a setup. These are crisis actors. Her job was to record, to put that on the internet. Watch this lady. There's putting Charlie in the car. Now look where she's recording. She's looking at that girl running by her. She's not looking at Charlie. That's a crisis actor on the left. See how they're acting real dramatic and emotional? Charlie's over to the right. Look where her camera is. She's recording the crisis actors. She's setting the stage. Remarkable. I mean, it's been since September 10th, 2025 since this happened. They're still putting Charlie in the car. She turns and walks away. Unbelievable. Charlie Kirk psyop. Psychological operation. No real blood. If real, the blood would have been everywhere. No sniper. Charlie's neck didn't stop a 30-06 bullet. The doctor reported that the sniper was in his neck and the spine was so strong it stopped the bullet. This is Fantasy Island. Gaslighting.